us Krishna Prema. So Hare Krishna, once again, I thank everyone for joining today's Bhakti Sangha conference call, and I also ask forgiveness for stopping all of you from ecstatic chanting today. So let us move on to our next session, which is Srimad Bhagavatam class. So may I know who all are joining the call today?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Danvat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. This is Ravindas Das from Chicago. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Arvindas Prabhuji, Dandavas Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you, Prabhuji, for joining Bhakti Sangha conference call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Bhargavi Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharajas, and all glories to the assembled devotees. This is Tiffany in Pennsylvania. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Tiffany Mataji, Dandavas Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you, Mataji, for joining Bhakti Sangha conference call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Bhargavi Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Vinita Gandharvika Devidasi from Texas. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Vinita Gandharvika Mataji, Dandavas Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you, Mataji, for joining Bhakti Sangha conference call. Hare Krishna.
Krishna Bhargavi Mataji, this is Kamudiki Dasi from Baltimore. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and glories to Guru Maharaj and all the devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Kamudiki Mataji, Dandavas Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you, Mataji, for joining Bhakti Sangha conference call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Bhargavi Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev ki jai. Vrinda, all Vaishnava.
Hare Krishna, Vrinda Gopika Mataji, Dandavas Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you, Mataji, for joining Bhakti Sangha conference call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Bhargavi Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Gurudev, and all glories to assembled devotees. This is Radha from Baltimore.
Hare Krishna, Radha Mataji, Dandavas Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you, Mataji, for joining Bhakti Sangha conference call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Bhargavi Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. My humble obeisances to you and all the devotees. This is Krishna Kumari Devidasi from Radha.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Kumari Mataji, Dandavas Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you, Mataji, for joining Bhakti Sangha conference call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. This is Niharika from Bloomington.
Hare Krishna, Niharika Mataji, Dandavas Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you, Mataji, for joining Bhakti Sangha conference call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Bhargavi Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to the assembled devotees on the call. This is Anita from Sharjah. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Anita Mataji, Dandavas Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you, Mataji, for joining Bhakti Sangha conference call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj, all glories to assembled devotees. This is Mohini Lakshmi from Detroit.
Hare Krishna, Vijay Lakshmi Mataji, Dandavas Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you, Mataji, for joining Bhakti Sangha conference call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. This is Padma from Virginia. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Padma Mataji, Dandavas Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you, Mataji, for joining Bhakti Sangha conference call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. This is Meena from Atlanta.
Hare Krishna, Meena Mataji, Dandavas Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you, Mataji, for joining Bhakti Sangha conference call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Bhargavi Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and all the assembled devotees. This is Indulekha Karuna Devi Dasi from Lincoln. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Indulekha Karuna Mataji, Dandavas Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you, Mataji, for joining Bhakti Sangha conference call. Hare Krishna. Okay, I welcome all of you once again. Thank you everyone for joining today's Bhakti Sangha conference call. Hare Krishna. Welcome all of you once again to Bhakti Sangha conference call. So today we are really fortunate to have His Holiness Vedavyasa Priya Maharaj on our call to enlighten us on the topic of glories of Radha Raman and Srila Madhavendra Puri's about Srila Madhavendra Puri. So we are really fortunate to have Maharaj on the call. So Maharaj, you are there on the call?
Yes.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept our humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you Maharaj for giving your valuable time and association in this Bhakti Sangha conference call. We are really fortunate to hear from you today, Maharaj. You can please take over the call.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurumilitan Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Khadamahyam Dadati Swapadantigam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Jatapatakampalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanutam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Sri Vishakanitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhano Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namaha Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Shunnyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The glories of Sri Sri Radha Raman in Vrindavan. This is been traditionally one of the most important temple that Gopal Bhatta Goswami, the youngest of all the 6 Goswamis, he established because he is a pure devotee of the Lord. The Lord is appearing according to the desire of the devotee. So he is deeply involved in meditative aspect of the form of the Lord. In the background of Gopal Bhatta Goswami, without this pure devotee, is it possible to glorify Shri Radha Raman? Therefore, we have to understand the appearance and activities of his pure devotee like Gopal Bhatta Goswami. In the country of Tamil Nadu, the family of Tamil Iyengar origin in Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, which is established by Ramanuja in Sri Rangam. Gopal Bhatta was the son of Venkata Bhatta. He was initially the great devotee of Lakshmi Narayan because the Ramanujas worship Lakshmi Narayan And through Lakshmi, they worship Narayan. So the nature of their worship is can be Sakam as well as Nishkam. Generally, the devotees or the congregation of Sri Sampradaya are Sakam Bhaktas. But those who are intimate servants of Sri Lakshmi Narayan, they are liberated in awe and reverence, and they become very peculiar in their etiquette as well as the worship. Very orthodoxically, very oriented towards the agama of the Vedanta. The Agama Shastras describe the procedural aspects of worship, right? So being born in such an exalted family, where whole family members were connected with the worship of Lakshmi Narayan, that his uncle took sannyas within Ramanuja Sampradaya, and his name was Prabodhananda Saraswati. So we see this character of Gopal Bhatta to come in the family of a great exalted Vaishnava, Sri Vaishnavite. This biography was also depicted, written in Bhakti Ratnakar by Narhari Sarkar Thakur. It starts from meeting with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who in 1510, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to South India, and he visited Srirangampatnam, the peat of Ramanuja Sampradaya. And the rainy season, so he wanted to spend 4 months in this holy place. So during that time, Gopal Bhatta was at a very young age, and he was given opportunity to meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and serve him over a number of months. He was so much attracted by the personality of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that when he was about to leave, Gopal Bhatta became upset. Therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu agreed to stay a few more days just to appease Gopal Bhatta. But again, when the time of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to go, he resolved, meanwhile, to go with him. So according to Gaudiya tradition, Gopala Bhatta had a spiritual vision in which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu revealed himself as an avatar of Krishna. And in the vision, Krishna then told him that in the town of Vrindavan, he would meet with the two devotees, namely Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, who would instruct him in the finer details of devotional service. So when Gopal Bhatta was awake in realization, he wanted to leave for Vrindavan at once. However, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told him to stay and serve his parents. So he did, instead of going with him. So after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's departure, Gopal Bhatta took guidance from his uncle Prabodhananda Saraswati. He took care of his parents in their old age. And then after they died, he then traveled to Vrindavan. So obedience to the order of spiritual master is, however it is so vital and trivial in that sense, that you have to serve your parents when they are old. This tradition is much prevailing still in Andhra. And the educated children, they go and settle down abroad. Parents are reluctant to come and accompany them. Rather, they have in blood desire that their son should come home and serve him. And when Mayavad, spread, the parents also got the notion that, well, the parents are immediate form of Godhead. So children must serve them. In Kali Yuga, this became a little bit a perverted aspect. There is no adjustment. Most of the parents remain at home in Andhra. And many of this, of their children, residing in Australia and other places. We have few, encounters of such dilemma with the children. Maharaj, how can I explain them that I'm better off in Krishna consciousness here and he could take advantage. My father doesn't want to come here. Rather, he is saying, I'm doing Trisandhya, I'm doing Sandhyavadan, I'm doing all this recitation and everything. How come what you are doing is different? Huh? Well, chanting Stotra and other things as a routine is pious, but it is not allowing you to do pure devotional service. While in Krishna consciousness, Srila Prabhupada employed direct engagement in transcendental loving service. The nature of loving service will be shaped up gradually to its complete purity. If we observe four regulative principles in chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and then offer our loving devotional service. Everything will take care in between, because these are potent methods for the age of Kali. So this tradition is still existing, yet because of influence of Mayavad philosophy, they are bewildered and they had a religious conflict within the family like this. But Gopal Bhatta took guidance from his uncle Prabodhananda Saraswati, and he was also there. Later, he was also influenced by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and both of them came to Vrindavan, where Gopal Bhatta met Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, and both of them accepted Gopal Bhatta as their brother. Gopal Bhatta later helped Sanatana Goswami to compile Hari Bhakti Vilas that we know. In Vrindavan, Gopal Bhatta Goswami studied rhetoric, poetry, Vedanta, and Sanskrit grammar from his uncle Prabodhanand Saraswati. And after passing of his parents, he went to Vrindavan, where he met both Rupa and Sanatana Goswami and had been instructing in his vision. When Lord Chaitanya discovered that Gopal Bhatta was in Vrindavan, he was extremely pleased and sent some of his personal belongings to Gopal Bhatta, who worshipped them. Mahaprabhu also sent a letter instructing Gopal Bhatta to help Rupa and Sanatan compile Vaishnava literatures. And Gopal Bhatta accepted this instruction as his life and soul. And he later also engaged his disciple Srinivasa Acharya in carrying the writings to Bengal. Gopal Bhatta established Radha Raman temple in Vrindavan of 1542. His samadhi is also existing within the temple complex. Gopal Bhatta Goswami is eternally serving Srimati Radharani as one of her Ashtamanjaris, Gunamanjari. And his samadhi is within Radha Ramanji's temple compound behind the appearance place of the deity. Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami initiated Gopinath, the Pujari Goswami, and also his lifelong brahmachari who served Radha Ramanji for the whole life. So, appearance of Radha Raman thus becomes of a great importance. Gopal Bhatta Goswami had a tour to Kali Gandaki river in Nepal, and he was taking a bath. And Kali Gandaki, he put up a dip, and in his Kamandalu, so many Shilas came in. And Gopal Bhatta Goswami, he said, wow, he did not know much, but again he took a deep, the same Shilas reappear in the Kamandalu. He took them off and put them back in the water, and the third dip, the same Shilas are coming back. So in this way, 3 times the Shilas appear in Kamandalu, and Gopal Bhatta took them. Out of that, one was quite big, and Gopal Bhatta got attracted to him. So he brought all the Shilas back to Vrindavan and started worshipping very diligently to the Archana. There, many wealthy people would come and offer so many expensive ornaments for decoration of the deity. At that time, only Rupa Goswami has Radha Govindji, and Sanatan Goswami had Madan Mohanji. So they would decorate them and they look so beautiful. But on a Shila, you have to simply meditate on the form of the Lord. But all these ornaments and clothes, expensive clothes, how can you put them on in a Shila? So Rupa Goswami was getting disappointed that even though he receives the gift from the rich people, so many things, but he cannot, use them in service of the Srila. The Srila has one uniform form, and the deity form has only to be meditated upon, this Srila. That is the process. So Gopal Bhatta Goswami had a deep hankering that, my dear Lord, if I would have a beautiful form of yours instead of Srila, I could utilize it to the best of my, devotional service. So devotees have to learn expertly how to utilize all the ornaments and beautiful clothing according to the mood of the pastimes of the Lord. And there are so many seasons coming, there are so many important days coming where devotees deeply get engrossed in worshipping in those particular moods of the pastimes of the Lord. So there is a gulf of active meditation rather than passive meditation. This active meditation is so much engrossing than simply meditating on the round face of the Srila. And that too with trying to see within that round face actual form of the Lord. So Gopal Bhatta Goswami was getting much more disappointed within himself. And his desire grew and grew and grew and grew, So he worshipped Lord Nrsingadev on Nrsinga Chaturdasi, and he immediately got struck. My dear Lord, you are the deity who appeared from a stone pillar because of pure devotion service of Prahlad Maharaj. You heard his prayers. Please hear my prayers too. If you can appear, there is nothing impossible for you to appear from Shalagram. When that day will be mine. So his meditation on the beautiful form of the Lord, Apauganda Avastha, grew and grew and grew and grew. Well, Pauganda Avastha is the beginning aspect where he plays pastimes with gopis also. But then it will become in Kaishora Avastha more intensified. So Radha Raman ji appeared and one night when Gopal Bhatta was deeply at sleep, but he would appear in his dream also, talking to him. When the dream stopped, he woke up and he got ready to do the worship. But to his surprise, he saw amongst one Srila, the big Srila, got transformed into a beautiful form of Radha Raman, And Radha Raman ji just appeared the very next day of Nrsinga Chaturdashi. It means his devotion was so pure, like a Prahlad Maharaj, that Gopal Bhatta Goswami had his dream fulfilled and the Lord appeared from the Srila. The texture of the body of Radha Ramanji and generally the nicely polished Shila in the Kali Gandaki. They have translucent form. It means even though they are black, but if you put against, say, direct sun, you will see the reddish hue coming from it. So these are the Shilas. But it means calcified stone structure over a mollusk. A biologist will say like that. Because this mollusk has a chakra-like shell. It's a mollusk. Mollusk is like a snail. It has a conch on it. And we worship conch, right? So this mollusk has a chakra-like shape. So the whole Shila was calcified like that, and or they call stonified also. That over the period, calcification is done on the living entity, so they become like fossils, in other words. But the devotional aspect to the insignia of chakra is much appreciated. That will be the mentality of a devotee. He will take any particular form where there is some resemblance of either paraphernalia of the Lord is there, or the Lord's, expansions, even in the form of demigods. These Shilas can be found. When I was in Varanasi, I used to get the darshan in a devotee's house. It's not from ISKCON, but nonetheless, he had a fancy to worship shalagrams. He has about 16,000 shilas in his home. And today also, both he and his wife, they worship every day. They run a silk store in Varanasi. So their business will start after noon, but the whole morning up to 12 o'clock, midday, they will be engaged in worshipping their Shilas. So we used to go and have darshan of all the Shilas. All the Shilas will be spread on a double bed, the king-size bed, and arranged, worship, put chandan on. But then he is very eager to show his Shilas of different shapes also. I have seen Matsya Shila, Ganesh Shila. I have seen Kurma Shila. So many different shapes, and they are naturally formed. That reminds either the pastimes of the Lord in that particular form or his paraphernalia. So Gopal Bhatta Goswami was so much remain in obligation of Lord Nrsingadeva that, my dear Lord, you heard my prayers. Now, please intensify my devotional service towards you. So, Radha Raman is, after Abhishekam, he becomes very translucent, and then he is applied beautiful anointment, as well as very meticulously, wearing these outfits. His threefold bending is unparalleled. The Goswamis of Radha Raman, they were descendants of Gopal Bhatta Goswami, and they are Saivites also. Two of them have become much more familiar to today's ISKCON, Padmanabh Goswami and Padmalochan Goswami. Both are good friends of mine. They invite devotees sometimes to come and take prasadam at their place, and devotees go. Srila Prabhupada was also very much acquainted with his father, who supported ISKCON from the very beginning, and Vishwambar Goswami, yes, and they also took international travel and preached their clan, and ISKCON supported them too. They would visit us. But anyway, it's nice Vaishnav culture they retain. Of course, Madan Mohan Ghera, Radha Raman Ghera is the old settlement in Vrindavan. And there was an incident that the temple is a little bit smaller in size, and the crowds are too much. It's not like Maka Bihari temple, which is bigger in size, so many people can come, at a time. So some of the people who are, very much admirer of Radha Ramanji, they decided to construct a very big temple, So right at the end of Loi Bazaar in Vrindavan, there is Lala Babu temple, Sonar Gauranga, they call it. The little small deity of Radha Krishna is there. They say it is out of gold. But they constructed this temple in a very exquisite way. How exquisite? Because during the British time in Vrindavan, so many, people from nearby Mathura, which was their headquarters for that particular area in British Raj, and from Delhi, which is not far, hardly 125 kilometers. So they would come to Vrindavan and visit this temple and the devotional, mood of the devotees, and they also get admired by such worship method. They were influenced, So when this Lala Babu started construction, it was fashioned in the Western style with a lot of Western damsels being carved either in the pillar form or, decorative form. And the temple was solely dedicated for Radha Ramanji. But after the temple was completed, the Saivites of Radha Ramanji refused to go there. Radha Ramanji refused to go in the new temple. Why? Because how can you glorify Radha Ramanji without their intimate devotees? There was no provision for them. They say they will come all from Radha Raman Ghera, which is about 10-15 minutes away, not in the premises. No, the Saivites must live within the premises of Radha Raman temple. So the old settlement is still there, and the new Lala Babu temple was rejected. So you can still go, people go, but you won't feel it is like a temple because of all Western carvings are there. We don't see this kind of tradition in our architecture. So that was during that time. But anyway, the glories of Radha Raman grew, because of worship. And these Britishers will also come and join such celebrations. So during that time, we are talking in late, say after mid 1800s, you know, when the technology started coming in, you know, and the transport system especially was much more familiar. Like in the in the international traveling, they will use the steamboats, big steamers, and railway trains, you know. So they would also make miniature. And Padmanabh Goswami showed me one time these old pictures. It's photographs, because photography also started in early days, and they would employ in the service, they will put a big rail track around this courtyard for railway to go around, and Radha Ramanji would come and have a good glaze on it, you know. So I have also seen the whole temple courtyard filled with water, and a big steamboat was constructed for the pleasure of Radha Ramanji. So all this kind of, you know, influence was getting in. Of course, these days they do not do, they give them boat ride, but in our swan boat system. And it became much more popular. But the then age has this kind of applications, and Radha Raman temple pujaris appreciated the joy the Britishers would derive from that. So Radha Raman temple was the first one to allow this to happen for the Western influence also, you know. I mean, it is very astonishing to see this, say, mid 1800s to early 1900s. You know, these photographs are still existing in their, you know, collections. So, how people reciprocate, they want to offer anything and everything to Lord Radharaman, right? But we see Radharaman doesn't have Radharani as such, but they worship the paraphernalia of Radharani's chundri, nathani, and well, moreover, they arrange all these ornaments of Radharani in a way as if Radharani is there, you know. So this is the kind of meditation for Radharani. That is the tradition in Tadiyanam Samarchanam, the paraphernalia of the Lord. Radharani is devotee, so she is also Tadiya. All the devotees must come decorated, you know, to serve the Lord. So this is Tadiyanam Samarchanam. In this way, we offer our you know, ourselves also in service of the Lord. So this is the tradition. Don't go unclean, disheveled nature within the temple. Rather, we should go in a very clean and meticulously clothed devotee. Of course, the seva aparadas we have to avoid by not wearing too fleshy, too obscene type of clothes. Avoid wearing deep red and blue color, you know, clothes, because they are the signs of passion and ignorance, and we should avoid like this. There are so many rules and regulations that will, protect our presence if we follow in the way that the Lord is pleased to see his devotees. So Radha Raman ji is still traditionally worshipped in Vrindavan with great pomp, and devotees will throng the next day of Lord Nrsimhadev, Nrsimha Chaturdashi, and it is so much closely connected with the appearance of Lord Nrsimhadev. The appearance of Radha Raman is thus, very much glorified. So, okay, now I would like to look into our a real Sambandha Acharya, our original relationship that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted through Madhva Sampradaya is through Madhavendra Puri. Madhavendra Puri is a very pure devotee, and his disciple Ishwar Puri is also very famous because through this medium of Madhva link, Madhavendra Puri took initiation from Jayatirtha. Am I right? Jayatirtha Name Parichaya. So Madhavendra Puri was initiated in the Vaishnava tradition, and generally the sannyas taken from Madhva Sampradaya, but he was very much inclined to worship Shri Radha Krishna in their intimate leelas, and his meditation was there. Generally, Radha Krishna worship is granted only through Nimbark Sampradaya, but nonetheless, we have our tract coming from Madhvacharya Sampradaya. So, Madhavendra Puri has been traveling constantly and preaching the glories of Sri Radha Krishna throughout the world. During the time when he was in Western India, he met Nityananda Prabhu. Seeing Nityananda Prabhu, Madhavendra Puri became so ecstatic. And similarly, Nityananda Prabhu became so ecstatic that both felt unconscious. And after some time, when they got up, from their transcendental, ecstasy, they embraced each other, and they traveled also together. I don't remember, but Nityananda Prabhu's father, Hadai Pandit, when he was small, there was a sannyasi came, visited him, and he asked Hadai Pandit that he wants a company of this young boy to keep. So Hadai Pandit agreed, and Nityananda Prabhu traveled So we see Nityananda Prabhu was also associated with Madhavendra Puri. And I think Bhakti Ratnakar is stressing that Nityananda Prabhu took initiation from Madhavendra Puri. But even Advaita Acharya also took initiation from Madhavendra Puri. Haridas actually was associate of Advaita Acharya. He considered Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to be his spiritual master. But nonetheless, they appeared prior to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to in preparation for the road to Advent. So they are all instrumental for appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who accepted the discipleship of Ishwar Puri, the very exalted devotee and disciple of Madhavendra Puri. Now, in the early times, before the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took initiation, the earlier records are that Madhavendra Puri was residing in Vrindavan, and especially in the Anur village, which is coming in the middle base of Govardhan mountain. So Madhavendra Puri one night was having the dream in which Gopal is complaining to him. Said, Madhavendra Puri, please come and rescue me. I am here in this particular Govardhan hill, but I'm stuck under the boulders, and it's severe heat. You know, somehow or other, it is too difficult to bear the heat. You should bring me out. Madhavendra Puri says, yes, I will be coming to find you out, but give me some signs where I will look for. So Gopal said, every day one cow comes and sheds her milk, and this is how she is sustaining me. So you will see the cow's milk flowing and leading that into the Kandara, or the cave where I am covered by big boulders. So Madhavendra Puri was very astonished that the Lord is giving me sign. So naturally it is not a dream, but there must be something the Lord has to reveal himself. So let me go. And even I may not be able to do all myself. Let me take some, the Brijvasis also in the same town. So he called several of them, and he said, I had a dream and the Lord is indicating that he's situated here. Let's rescue him. So they all went, and they saw there was a group of boulders, and there was a cow shedding the milk. So they said, this must be the place. So they went and started removing the boulders from the top to the bottom. So they saw the raised hand of the deity. Then they became so enthusiastic that they brought out. So Madhavendra Puri is the one who gets this Gopal deity. And Madhavendra Puri told the Brijavasis, let's celebrate the festival for the appearance of Gopal, and let's start worshipping him by having the big Abhishek, and Govind Kund is nearby. Let's take him there, and we want to establish back him on the Govardhan hill itself. So the purity of devotional service during that time, due to Madhavendra Puri, was very much, intense. So therefore, they would go on the Govardhan, and even today, some of the not those who are followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and others, but those who were by nature of local residents, they think that Govardhan is the place for grazing their goats and cows. So they go. Monkeys go. Who else? The Nilgais go. So anyway, Govardhan is a physical structure, but it has a transcendence deeply involved in the place, because he is none other than Lord Vishnu himself, which was granted to take appearance as a portion of Vindhyachal mountain, as Govardhan here, to witness the childhood pastimes of the Lord in original form that he will come. So this Gopal is none other than Krishna, and he is being pompously, bathed from Govinda Kund waters and so many other Jamuna water and so forth, so much big festival. And Madhavendra Puri organized a Chappan Bhog festival called Annakut, where so many preparations make mountains of heaps, like heaps like mountains, of the food items, and offer to the Lord Gopal. So in this way, Gopal was established. Madhavendra Puri had also a disciple called Ballabha, but later on he was known as Vallabhachari, and his children started Ballabha Sampradaya. So anyway, Madhavendra Puri was today also is revered and honored by Ballabha Sampradaya as Madhavendra Yati. He was the instructing spiritual master of Vallabhacharya, rather than initiating spiritual master. So Madhavendra Puri's lineage is Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya, and Vallabhacharya later on, after having his Subodhini approved up to the Balya Leela, was also the Siksha disciple of Madhavendra Puri. So Madhavendra Puri worshipped for 16 years on Govardhan, the Gopal deity, and then he handed over to Vallabhacharya. So after Vallabhacharya left his body, his sons Vitthal and Gopinath, they received the and in this way, the entire Sampradaya, Vallabha Sampradaya, was based on the worship of Laddu Gopal and Srinathji. And they did so. Even Bhakti Ratnakar states that Rupa Goswami and Raghunath Das Goswami both would walk all the way from Vrindavan to Mathura, where in Vittalnath's house, Srinathji was brought for safety from the attack of the Mohammedans, who wanted to raise the temple. So they will tell in front of them that we are coming to raise your temples, better take away your deities who you worship and hide them. Otherwise, they will be also damaged, They will threaten like that. So naturally, more important is the deity for the devotees rather than the temple. So they would raid the temple and go away as if they have destroyed the religion. But actually, Mohammedans are afraid of the deity, and they had to respect that too. Otherwise, they know it is. So they raise the temple, not the deity. In Ayodhya, Ram Janmabhoomi, they made by Babri Masjid, but the deity was still there inside. So they will close it and do not destroy the deity, but they will raise the temple and destroy it. So similarly, we see the destruction of these temples that were done, like Rupa Goswami's Radha Govindji temple. We do not know Radha Raman had ever gone from Vrindavan. He is still in Vrindavan in his original form. While Radha Govindji, Radha Gopinath, and Radha Damodar, original deities are in Jaipur. And they are worshipped very pompously. What here in Vrindavan are their replicas, but only Radha Raman, being the original deity, is he is small enough to be carried anywhere and everywhere, but he also expands himself. If you go to Patna, or those devotees are from Patna, there is a branch of this Goswami's Radha Raman temple, and I think it is very near to Ganga, which is flowing through Patna. So I have visited that temple, and the deities are exactly like original Radha Raman. So the Radha Ramanji are extremely beautiful and so meticulously carved there that you won't find any difference. So in this way, they maintain the Pratibhu Murtis, expanded forms of the original. But in Vrindavan, that is the original Radha Raman who appeared from Shalagram. So all these facts are there as a history, and of course the ownership of the temple is still with the Goswami clans, and they are all familiar with ISKCON. They appreciate ISKCON, but at the same time, they take advantage of the ISKCON worldwide movement also to give them certain credits, and they also expand their, discipleship in this way. So anyway, so what we are understanding about Radha Ramanji, it is still traditionally, being served. These deities are very attractive. Sometimes in the smile, you will see beautiful, tender teeth also appearing. And it looks so beautiful, so beautiful. But all the time in your photograph, you cannot capture the teeth. But to see the teeth of Lord Krishna is dangerous. If Krishna shows his teeth, means death personified will be there. But this is smiling, and this is little tinge of teeth is being seen. It is little different. Of course, devotees want to sacrifice their life. Means what is life? Well, they do not fear death. So they will enjoy such appearance as the mercy of the Lord. But otherwise, no deities would have open mouth even. Open mouth deity of Krishna is Virata form, and that is devastating. All right. So Yashoda Mata saw that open mouth of Krishna. It was rare of the rarest experience that she had, which bewildered her more about her son. And she lost all the composure. And she was fainted. Krishna revived that, oh, wow, what did I do? Majesty is not my nature in Vrindavan. How come, I put my mother into trouble? She got so much fearful of me. Okay, let me pacify her. So Krishna made her to say, oh dear Krishna, what I was saying is very, very rare, but I could not understand a bit. So anyway, the nature of the complaint that you ate dirt, and I just wanted to see the dirt in the mouth, but dirt is the Prithvi, Jal, Agni, Vayu, Akash is composing the ultimate dirt, and I didn't see it, but rather I saw very closely all the creation of the cosmic manifestation. So that is not understood. It is beyond my comprehension. Anyway, when there are no dirt particles, they are universal particles. It's like that she was understanding. So actually, Krishna, you did not eat dirt. These people are saying wrong. Anyway, Krishna made Yashoda Mata much more peaceful, so she can love him without any interruption. So thank you very much. If anybody has any question or comments, please.
Thank you so much, Maharaj, for the very, very beautiful class today and enlightening us on the topic of Radha Raman deity. And you very nicely said about the etiquettes also, how we should go and what attitude we should go to the temple and take the darshan of deities. And very nice to hear from you, Maharaj. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Dear devotees, if anyone has any questions or comments, they can go ahead now.
Jai
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, Pramodiki Mataji.
Humble obeisances.
Jai Prabhupada. Hare Baba.
हरे कृष्ण महाराज अनंत कोटि दंडवत प्रणाम श्रील प्रभुपाद श्रील गुरुदेव की जय श्री श्री राधा रमन की जय श्री श्री गोपाल जी की जय श्री माधवेंद्र पुरी की जय हरि हरि गौरंग थैंक यू महाराज अनंत कोटि दंडवत प्रणाम टू योर एसोसिएशन
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. I just wanted to say thank you so very much for such a transcendental class. You gave so much beautiful detail about the appearance of Sri Radha Raman and even the details that you gave about Madhavendra Puri. I did not realize the connection, the strong connection with Vallabha Sampradaya. It's really incredible, and it makes me miss Vrindavan so very much. So I'm so grateful, so appreciative for your class, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
The Radha Vallabh Radha, not Radha, the Vallabh Sampradaya itself, they are also thankful to Madhavendra Puri. They call him Madhavendra Yati because he was a sannyasi, and they built Jatipura on the other side of the Govardhan, the whole town. But there more the glories of what we call the descendants of Vallabhacharya is becoming more prominent than Madhavendra Puri. Yeah. So Guru Shishya Parampara, even though it is the instructing disciple, then he should retain as the lineage of unbroken chain of disciplic succession. But then, unfortunately, Vallabhacharya took position of the Acharya in the line of Vishnu Swami, the Rudra Sampradaya. And he could not establish that. Then after his passing away, Vitthalesh, took over, his second son. He was an erudite scholar, but at the same time, this political nature made it evident that the whole sampradaya of Vishnu Swami, came into the seminal succession rather than disciplic succession. Even they say that seminal succession is all right to carry on, but it will be not last long, because effect of Kali Yuga in the family and the divisions of the property and subdivisions property, all these gheras around all the Vaishnava temples we see, and that is the competitiveness of occupation of property instead of the deity. They take the turn. That's all right. This kind of arrangement will be there even outside of Vrindavan. The same thing is there. But if you see the real concerning aspect, that during early 90s, when I came and I was working out some, benevolent plans for even Radharani's Barsana, the Vrishabhanu, the Bhangad, where Radharani's temple is situated. So many, descendants of the Saivites and their families are increasing day by day and occupying the entire mountain. Where else they will go? There is no provision. So in this way, when the worship is being, not retained, then dilution becomes the effect of the Kali Yuga. But there are certain examples, like Radha Raman temple. They rejected Lala Babu temple. Oh no, we don't need. You have not made any provision for the Saivites. So if the servants are not going, the Lord decided he doesn't want to go. And therefore they are sitting in the same old place. The Gera is very tight, but it is historical, They call it Gera. Gera means surroundings. It is so tight surrounding, the monkeys jump from one house to another house easily. All right. Thank you very much. Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you so much, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much,
Maharaj. Next time, when you have time, we would like to listen about how you were instrumental in bringing Srinathji worship in New Vrindavan.
Oh my God. That should be another class. It's a big history.
Yeah, we would like to hear that, Maharaj. We are very, very
Okay,
grateful
then
to you for that.
next time you keep it, okay? Because there is a chronology also, and then we will have to listen to everything as an adventure. Good. So you can tell me when the next date will be there, appearance of Srinathji in Nivandavan. Okay?
Haribol. Thank you so much for your wonderful association. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you. Thank you so much, Maharaj. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dandavat pranam, Hare Krishna.
Dandavat pranam.
Thank you so much, Maharaj, for the very, very beautiful class and enlighten us in this topic. So we will look forward, as we discussed in the future, to have your association, Maharaj. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
सर्वगुरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यः च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। कोटि वैष्णव की जय। श्री श्री राधा रमण की जय। श्री श्री श्रील माधवेंद्र पुरी की